fight of his life and had a smile on his face and never give up. He didn't have a choice to give up. And the things that I was doing in my life, I was really pissing my life away. I could have gone down the wrong path, kept going down the wrong path, but I believe everything happens for a reason. And, as crazy as it might sound, but he was really a turning point in my life, finding him and gained a little brother and watching him and the help that he helped me through my entire life with his battle. He doesn't even understand how much he's helped me, how much I push in practice when I get tired and feel like I can't go in another round, That fourth and fifth round I remember I had his dad send me a picture of him laying on the hospital bed with his port put in his chest, and it was his early onset battle of leukemia, like his first few weeks, and just looked at it and looked at, how far he's came, and what's 10 more minutes, what's 10 more minutes for, to go out there and capture this for him. It wasn't just about me, it was my dream at a young age, but I met him and it became our dream. And it became our night, and now it's his night. And I'm forever grateful for everybody that's been a part of this journey with me, his family, himself. Everybody has had a helping hand to my success and to where I'm at right now. I'm very thankful.
And last question. The UFC has done a little bit of a victory tour, I know, with some new champions. They announced you're from Sacramento, but we know you're from Ohio. So I'm kind of curious, what are your thoughts on coming back and headlining a card in your home state at some point now that you are champion?
I would love to come back to the great state of Ohio. Born and raised, Midwest is some of the toughest son of a bitches in the world, and that showcases. So I would love to go out there and put on a great scrap in front of my home state, and and do that. So Lord willing, and the UFC would be able to make it happen. I would love to go there and fight, but wherever. I love to fight. I enjoy the fight, but Ohio would be great. Thank you, Damon.
Cody, congratulations on a great performance, and congratulations on what you've done for Maddox in your comments here. I guess I don't want to really it's hard to ask you a question about the fight after that, but you referenced Cruz as the Matrix and the Ghost and everything, but it seemed to me like you were kind of that to a certain degree. You were neutralizing his offense, and he wasn't hitting you that much. And, I know you had the threat of the knockout always there, but how much do you think that your ability to take his offense away helped you win the fight tonight?
I knew Dominick was different, the way he was acting, getting very emotional. And I could feel that presence off him, There was a different presence of him all week, all fight camp. I really got into his head, and that showed. He fought emotionally, and he didn't have an answer for me. I truly believe that I'm the better fighter, the faster fighter, the stronger fighter, and I wanted it more. But hats off to him. He's amazing. He's great. But, I train hard, and I believe in myself. That's the thing, self-belief. And, having a great team, coaches, and people that care about me.
Cody, you've gotten to this right here in the front row. You've gotten to this point, the championship, pretty quickly in your career. Do you feel like people were sleeping on you coming into this fight, or do you think it was just a matter of the fact that people needed to see you against top competition to really fully appreciate your skill level?
I guess so. There was a lot of what ifs. What if he doesn't? How's his cardio? How is he in the position? And Dominick didn't know either. I knew that he'd be a desperate man in there when he couldn't take me down, when he couldn't get his offense going. And that's what you saw, a desperate Dominick Cruz. A very desperate Dominick Cruz to figure me out. And he was getting hit with hard shots, and that changes the whole game plan of a fight. Granted, he took my shots and kept fighting. Hats off to him. But, for everybody, I can go out there and knock everybody out, but still, he didn't go to the fourth round, or he's never fought a top 5 guy, but I'm consecutively going out there knocking people out. I can see if I was having tough fights with them, but I'm going out there calling my shots, doing what I do best, is knock people out. So this was a very huge win for me, not against even Dominick Cruz, just my performance and going out there and becoming better as a fighter. My next fight, I want to be even better. And this is just a start for me. I'm 11-0. My debut was 4 years ago with a year layoff. I knew what I needed to do was come out to Team Alpha Male. I went out there 3 years ago, and I knew that for me to be a world champion, that's where I needed to go. That's where I needed to be and be around those guys. And those guys have gotten me here. Everyone else has had a helping hand, but Team Alpha Male polished me up and brought this dream to me. They brought this to me. This is them, bread and butter. Uriah Faber, I couldn't do it without him. You know, he's the one that paved the way for fighters like myself to have a dream, to have, you know, to have this all. And, you know, I'm on part of his team, and it was a step to get on the team, then represent the team, then get in the UFC, and now fight for the title, and then win the title. And I'm bringing this shit back to Sacramento where it belongs.
And you alluded to my other question there, which is the fact that you had only been to the end of the third round one time in your career. Tonight you go 5 hard-fought rounds. I'm sure it would have been easier physically to get out of there sooner. But in addition to winning the title, is there some satisfaction in having that statement on your record, too, a 5-round fight of the night, so that question is not asked in the future?
Well, that's a 5-round fight of the night with one of the best, arguably the best that ever did it. The one that's talked about the cardio king, that pushes the pace and all that. So I think I silenced a lot of the critics. But for me, that was just for myself. I could care less about what the media says, what everyone else says, but about me. You know, because they're not paying my bills, they're not doing any of that. It's myself. So I'm very satisfied with this win. But I know I have a lot to work on. Like I said, this is just the beginning. I'm just getting started.
Cody, this way. You already spoke a little about Uriah Faber. I wanted to ask you about how much did how important was him in the strategy for this fight. I mean, I listened to him. He was telling you to throw the push kick, and he was gelling pretty much the whole fight from the first row.
You know, Uriah was a huge part of me being a world champion. You know, he believed in me like I believed in myself. And this is one of the greatest that ever did. That paved the way for fighters like myself. And it just gave me more motivation, more determination, and kept me hungry, you know, when I was struggling to make it. He's like, don't worry about it. You're going to be a superstar. You're going to be a world champion, kid. He's like, do what you're doing. I've never seen anyone like you. Keep training, you know. And he kept me in perspective, you know, kept making me work hard. And knowing that, I guess, looking at the bigger picture and living in the moment and enjoying it. That's one thing, just enjoying the whole process. And, you know, we hugged each other after the fight, man. And he made me cry, you know. We cried together, you know. It was happy tears, you know. It was amazing. So we shared that moment together, and it's great. It's been great to be a part of the team. I remember coming out there 1-0, a year layoff from injuries, from brain trauma. And I said, you know what, I'm not losing any more time in my life and my passion. I got to go out there and challenge myself against the best team in the world. And I took myself out to Sacramento, California, showed up on the mats covered in tattoos, and Uriah and Team Alpha Male put me through the damn gauntlet. And I remember this vividly, walking off the mat, shaking Uriah Faber's hand. He said, what do you want to do, kid? I said, I want to fight in the UFC. He said, all right, get to 5-0, I'll get you there. And now I'm 11-0 and I'm the world champion.
Hey, Cody. Over here. Bantamweight has had some great fighters, Faber, Cruz, even Miguel Torres before that. But they've never had a Conor McGregor. Are you thinking about yourself in terms of being that star at that next level, building the bantamweight division up like BJ built lightweight, like Conor built featherweight, bringing notoriety to the bantamweight division? I mean,
the bantamweight division is on fire right now. That's all because of Uriah Faber. He's the OG, WEC king of the, you know, he's the champion of the world, featherweight world champ. You know, he's the reason why it is the way it is. You know, I'll never forget the roads that he's paved for fighters like myself. So I mean, it's always been on fire, and he's the one that kept it lit. You know, now he had the torch and he passed that shit to me. So now it's my job to keep it, you know, lit and keep it exciting and do what I can in this sport.
Yeah, just thinking, you know, Conor, million pay-per-views. Are you thinking of yourself as, obviously you're a fighter through and through, but do you think of yourself as having that superstar potential? Do you think like that?
You know, I don't know. I'm thankful for this moment, and you know, if I'm ready for, I was prepared for what a win will bring to me, and also what a loss would bring to me, and I'm just thankful.
Hey, Cody, congratulations. Just had 2 questions. I recall when everything happened with Dwayne Ludwig and Dillashaw leaving the team, you were probably the most vocal one who said, everything's fine here. You know, we don't need those guys. We have a great team. We've got everything going very well. And you made a point to kind of give props to the young coaches who were former fighters like Justin and Chris and Danny. And I'm wondering if you felt the responsibility not only for yourself and for Uriah and for Maddox, but this kind of validates them as a coaching staff as well. As great as you fought, if you feel like you did something big for them as well.
It wasn't me that did something big for them. It's what they did for me. Every day, keeping on me, keeping me motivated, keeping me getting better each day. And I've stayed busy. So I had 4 fight camps. So I'm getting better each fight camp, and I'm a direct product of them. This year's been an amazing year. We set out to be a world champion. I said in 2000s, I wrote a piece of paper that I'd make it to the UFC before 2015, and the next line I wrote that I'd be a world champion by 2017. I'm one day early of my prediction, and I'm so thankful for Justin Buckles, Danny Castillo, Chris Holdsworth, Uriah Faber, my uncle Robert Meese, who's been holding flip-flops as pads since I was a kid. And, it's amazing. We all came together and have a strong team. I wouldn't be here without them.
And Dominick said that he's totally fine if Dillashaw fights you next. He would not stand in the way. And I think a lot of people would agree that Dillashaw would be next after Dominick. Do you have an issue with fighting Dillashaw?
I'm the baddest dude in the world, so bring them all. Bring them all. I just beat the best in the world. So I already knew what I did to Dillashaw. And I was 1-0. I was green. I was getting my ears wet. I was just a fighter at heart. Now I've been compiling my skills with my coaches. I've been the uncrowned champion, even when Dillashaw was on the team, and now I got this. So anybody in my division can try to take it from me.
And one last quick one. I know this pales in comparison to being a champion, but, you can very much make the case that you're the fighter of the year. 4-0, you beat the greatest of all time at bantamweight. A, does that mean anything to you? And B, do you think that you were the best fighter in 2016?
I went from unranked to world champion in the same calendar year. I think that has to do something. I beat one of the best guys that's been the pound for pound for so many years. So I think I should deserve Fighter of the Year. But like I said, when I set out to be a fighter, I just didn't want to be a UFC fighter or just an average fighter. I want to be the best, the greatest at my abilities I could be. And that's what I set out to do. And fight after fight, I want to build my legacy, and here it is. Now I got to protect it. This is a chapter of my life that's closed. I got the fight. Now we're on to the next chapter. It's defending the title until the wheels fall off, or until I get too old and can retire.
Thanks. Congrats.
That wasn't a low blow favor, no.
Well, Amanda, this, of course, was an incredible win for you tonight. I know you were confident that you were going to win, but did you envision it being this dominant where you would just completely destroy her in the opening minute?
Yeah. The whole time I know it's going to be like this, and I train like that, like a lions. And I know if I have the chance, the beginning, the fight, she give it to me the opportunity, I know I can finish her. I know the girls can take my punches. I know that. And it happened tonight.
Were you surprised that she seemed willing to punch with you a little bit, at least to start? Because I think a lot of us thought she would be working very hard to get the clinch and not try to strike with you at all.
I know she's going to strike with me because she think because her boxing coach he told her she have a good strike. And I know she's going to strike a little bit with me, but when I start to connect some punches, I know she's going to start want to clinch me.
It looked like you may have hurt her from the very first punch. Did you get the sense that she was hurt right away, and did you something in your mind click, I'm going to go ahead and finish this now?
Yeah. I saw the first punch, and then I built my confidence to keep it going.
And all week long, you seemed to be kind of okay with the way things were promoted and the fact that she wasn't out there. But as soon as the fight was over, it looked like you talked to Dana, and you certainly were excited. So were you a little bit frustrated and upset that maybe you didn't get the attention that you deserved before now?
Honestly, no. I was completely okay with everything. When I asked this fight for Dana, I know it's going to be like that. I'm ready the first day I asked this fight. I know it's going to be like that. But this is the moment I'm supposed to do that. This is the moment when I capitalize and then she's going down and this the moment I'm supposed to, like, do whatever I want.